Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So today we're going to be doing a full buff all over on my Toyota Corolla, and we're going to be using these SONAX branded products. So they're top quality products made in Germany to the highest quality standards. And just for full disclosure, my uncle who's actually a German guy, is actually importing this stuff to Australia. So him and his friend are importing it to Australia, and they're the distributors here in Australia. So I did get the product sent out for purpose of review, but as always, the opinions are my own, and I'm not going to go soft on them just because they're from my uncle. But they did give me a pretty good selection of their products. Obviously not all of them. They've given me a few buffing pads, a few different compounds, a few glazes. They've even given me some of their ceramic coatings, which we'll be getting stuck into in the video that comes up next week. That chart that I gave you a look at has been helpful for me too. It's just helped me have a bit of a better understanding of the products that they've got. So where I park this car at work, and pretty much always in my entire life, wherever I've parked my cars outside of work, they've always over time just got smashed with a light mist of overspray, which really does build up over the years. So that's what I started off with. You saw me doing that on the fender. I just used that overspray clay, and that really helped get all of that rough overspray off. I started in this trade in the year 2000, and back then they never had those overspray clay bars. Well, they may have been out, but I had never seen them before. So if we ever got a car that came in and we accidentally got overspray in it, we would have to give the entire car a full buff and polish, and that's like a 4-hour job. So it was a really big deal when those overspray clay bars came in. So yeah, they are really handy. So because we are doing a review here, I decided to put this compound to the test. We started off with the Cut Max and the red pad. So I decided to get a piece of 2000 grit. You may have noticed that sander section on that bonnet and see how well it buffs up. Now I will just say those red pads from the SONAX brand, they are very hard and they are very coarse. So they do really rip in, but just be careful around edges. I could imagine that they would burn rubbers or plastic trims or anything like that really easy. So just be a little bit careful. Now this one that I'm using here is the green pad. That's actually like a much finer pad. It's a lot softer and it doesn't go quite as hard on the paintwork. But I actually found for the purpose of what I'm doing now, which is just more of a rejuvenation, it was ideal. I will say that Cut Max is amazing. Like, as I say, where's all the dust? There is none. And I'm really impressed with how it doesn't stain. Yeah, it hasn't stained any of these plastics. So if you look at these plastics, they're a bit faded anyway, you know, like they're in need for a bit of a plastic rejuvenator, right? But with a lot of the compounds that I've used over the years, like where you see the little dobs of wet compound hit, you'll go to wipe it off, but you'll be left with like a ring where it's stained. So yeah, now we're on to the second stage, which is the perfect finish, and we're using the DA or dual action orbital polisher here. So look, this thing is not great. It's like, I think it's like Rockwell Shop Series. It was from Super Cheap Auto. It was $100, and look, it's probably worth $100. Truth be told, it's not like the greatest I've ever used, but at the end of the day, like it does the job. It does actually get rid of the swirl marks, but it's just got too tight of an orbit. I think that the Rupes Bigfoot, the one that we use at work, it's got like, I think I was reading somewhere it's like a 21 mil orbit, and this thing seems like it is just tiny. It would have to be like half of that, if not less than half of that. So all it really means is it just takes twice or more the amount of time to do the same surface area. It's just slow because it's got that small orbit on it. You've just got to go over it 2 or 3 times. So yeah, going forward, I think I might actually end up getting one of those Rupes Bigfoots. It's just that they're about $800. So for a once a year buff on my own car, I think I'll stick with this for the time being. But if I do actually end up starting to do some more jobs more often, I'll definitely have to go and get one of those Rupes Bigfoots, because at the end of the day, mate, time is money. That's one of those things that I've been talking to the guys at work about lately. You know, the biggest expense of most workshops is labor. So if you can save labor, you're saving money. So that's where I actually can see that this Cut Max and this Perfect Finish, these SONAX branded polishers, will actually possibly be able to save you money for the fact that they're saving you time in cleanup. Because as I say, there was like nothing in all of these door jams, like there's literally nothing. For me personally, we've got car cleaners, we've got, you know, a guy that does most of our buffing and he washes the cars up himself, so it's not that big of a deal for me at work. But when I'm at home here, this is my own time, so saving myself my weekend hours and not having to clean all the door jams every single time I do a buff all over on my own car actually gives me more of a reason to get my car buffed up every year. So my regulars do know that I'm a pretty honest guy and I'm always straight up with you guys about products, and if something's bad, I'm more than happy to tell you. If I think there's some good and bad points, I'll point them out. So as I say, the CutMax is great stuff. It's really clean, probably more suited to 3000 grit, which at the end of the day, most people use 3000 grit anyway, so it's probably not quite as coarse as some of the polishes the compounds that I've used in the past. It's not the coarsest on the market. It is the cleanest I've ever used though. So since shooting this video, I've actually had quite a bit more experience using the SONAX branded products, and I've taken it to work, used different pads with it. Like I've tried using the green 3M waffle pad with it, and it really doesn't quite cut it with that green 3M waffle pad, which the green 3M waffle pad and the 3M compound, they work great together. However, if you don't use this red pad with the CutMax, it takes forever to cut. So it's one of those things that you sort of half relying on this really hard pad to do the cutting for you. So I do highly recommend, if you do get into this stuff, get that pad as well. But yeah, they've got a full range of car care and detailing products on their website, so I do highly recommend going over there and checking it out. If you're here in Australia, anything above $100 will be free delivery, which is pretty cool, I reckon. And I say this in all honesty, I'm going to be a personal customer of SONAX for quite some time going forward. I love the fact that there is really, really minimal mess from it. There is no dust, and it's one of those things that, like, being in the trade for 20 years, I've heard it all. You get these sales reps coming in telling you this is the latest and greatest thing, and when these guys actually originally had a chat to me and said, oh, this stuff is so great, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I've heard it all before. So that's why I was actually quite surprised when I got it. I'm like, wow, these guys were right. I mean, not to say that I didn't trust my uncle or his mate, but it's one of those things, I sort of had to see it before I believed it. So I do highly recommend that CutMax. If there's nothing else that you get on the CutMax, and yeah, probably the perfect finish, again, just for the cleanliness. But if you guys stay tuned to this channel, there will be a tutorial on how to apply the SONAX ceramic coating, which is a bit of a sneak peek here. This is what the water beads off that ceramic coating like. It is insane. So if you do nothing else, subscribe to the channel and make sure you watch that video. But we also do have some really cool videos coming up in the future, so yeah, be sure to stick around for them. And if you're here in Australia, be sure to use the code Gunman10 on sonax.com.au for a 10% discount, and as I said before, it's free shipping on any order over $100. I'd like to say a big thanks to everyone for watching, and if you'd like to support the channel further, you're more than welcome to go over and check out some of the merchandise we've got. My personal favourite is those spray suits, so they're a good quality Colad branded spray suit with the Gunman logo on it. There's also hats, drink coolers, hoodies and t-shirts, so be sure to go over and check out the link in the description if you are interested. All that aside, I'd just like to say a big thanks for watching, and that is enough to support the channel. But as I say, if you'd like to go the next step, then be sure to check out some of that merchandise. Thanks for watching, and until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.